Alright, welcome back. I'm up here at my monster factory. Ignore the obsidian in my hand, I'm going to talk about that. Well, I guess I can just sort of jump into it. I mentioned last time that... I think I mentioned it. I mentioned it to someone, like IRL. And I think I mentioned it in the video lesserly. I could do a gold factory. Meaning that I can't, there's no way to do it. I can't have a gold factory incorporated into this, strictly speaking. But what I could do with Obsidian, far more than I have, is I could add pigment, sorta, to what I have here. So to talk about this a little backward, and I'll probably, when I do it, I'll have to re-explain it better, but right now monsters spawn up there. There's 12 of them. Occasionally fall down, I smack them with a sword or whatever. I build up, everything's got mending at this point, so it's a good way to rebuild everything. If that was a skeleton, so if I kill a skeleton, it's going to drop bones and arrows. They'll go through this little slab into this hopper. There's a hopper beneath it that feeds into this. It used to just all accumulate in here, but it got messy, so I changed things. Now, once it goes in there, it falls through the hopper at the bottom, into this one, into this one, where it checks to see if it's meat. Because if it were a zombie, it would be. But that was another skeleton. If it isn't meat, then it might be a creeper, which gives me gunpowder. Then it falls through. If it's a skeleton, it probably gives me bones, and probably gives me arrows. If it's a witch, that gives me redstone. It's none of those, and it just goes to the final one that doesn't have a check. It just falls through. When it falls through, when it's meat, it goes through this one to that one to this one and straight down for 140 meters. So there's five columns of 100, and there's like 700 hoppers in this thing so far. So yeah, then if it's bones, it goes through and down. If it's not anything, it goes through and becomes, bows and redstone and whatever. I could add another 140 hopper, 150, whatever it actually is. It's a lot. It's just stupid. And make one full of, make a sorting station bit that has 22 golden nuggets. No, that was not what that happens sometimes. It annoys me. What else is that? So let's move on to that phase of the explanation. Well, that's actually the next phase. First, just understand that the slush pile one, I would duplicate all of these here one more time, and then where this is out of reach, this is meat. That one on the end there, instead of not being anything as it is now, would be full of nuggets, because right now it's just empty. And there would be a comparator in redstone making sure it was nuggets before it gave up and just pushed it to a whole nother column of the new slush pile. That's thing number one. Thing number two is if I have pigmen, they can't only fall the 24 meters that I've got. Right, and also they can't be all that high up. I'm running out of ceiling. I'm going to hit 255 and I won't be able to build higher. So, if I had pigmen falling, they'd be falling from more or less the level I was just at, 200, down to, I don't know, 150, say, as a round number. Impacting on a hopper, a bunch of hoppers really, which all feed into a little like this row of hoppers I've got down here, feeding stuff from that whole mess into this tower. I'd have another tower like this, going up about 50 meters. Whatever they fell, it would go back up. And link into the system up there, so that gold would have a way to get in and be thought of and considered and rejected if it's not gold and so on. I think I have everything I'm going to need. I hope. Alright, so the next factor is I would need a portal up there. This being a portal. And the reason is, right now this thing is just a portal. It's a dozen blocks of obsidian, because I don't have the 2, I never put them in. I didn't have a lot to work with when I built it, I had to get, into the nether. Let me back away so you can hear me. Every once in a while, like once a game week or so, there will randomly be a pigman that just spawns in there. It actually does spawn. It doesn't, let me do something here. It doesn't actually come in from the nether. It's not like it exists in the nether and comes through. This being obsidian, this is actually its own block, although it's really thin. Just called nether portal. It's a nether portal block. And there's 6 of them. Either way you built this thing, and I went somewhere in between. Which, each of those 6 potentially can spawn a pigman. That said, the 4x5, meaning 2x3, can actually be up to 23 by 23, meaning 21 squared, which is, over 400. Is it 451? No. It's a bunch. So that known, keep that number in mind. Because if it were 21 by 21, the random, and I'm going to go in here. If it were 21 squared, the random pigman would still be random, but with 440 odd 50, whatever it is. I don't know why I can't. I just woke up. The 400 odd nether portal blocks would each randomly, every once in a while, produce a pigman. And with that many, you'd more or less be getting several per minute. All just spawning anywhere in this big portal we're talking about. And ultimately settling on the obsidian as though they spawned on the obsidian. They wouldn't just float in the air. There's a pigman now. If I killed it, I'd get a nugget. That would be cool. And it would launch me into a whole long day of killing mini pigmen. I don't want to do that. So, more noise, hang on. This is another portal which I didn't build. In fact, I've taken, you can see where they used to be, if you remember, if you've been watching that long. There's a whole big thing, that's why I was looking at portals earlier. That's why I had that tab. I don't really even get what this is talking about, but I do know lava there, for example. When I was jumping through where I'm about to go to get back into the nether from the dungeon where the end portal is, I was somehow kind of teleporting just real quick through lava, because the coordinates here in the overworld, if you match those coordinates in the nether on this map, this seed, as of now, you would technically just teleport into lava. Except that, because it's, a ratio of 8 to 1. Whatever the coordinates are, divided by 8 actually put you where we just were, in the nether, before we came out. The problem was there was a bug, which I think has been fixed, although I don't know how it helps me at this point. That would kind of throw me, it would drag me through lava for just a second, a tenth of a frame, a tick. It doesn't even matter. It was enough that it caught me on fire. So when I came out of the portal into the nether, as much as it shouldn't have happened, I was standing there being on fire for, you know, however long it takes to stop being on fire in the nether, where I can't just dump water on the ground and put myself out. That was here. So, you know, here's your coordinates in the nether where there ought to be a big lava lake. I'm certain there is. I just never got to it to do anything about it. And now I really have to, because that bug's been fixed. And, of course, I don't have a portal here anymore, which is, I still have a bit of obsidian. So you see where it was. Anyway, that's not the point of this. The point is I'm going to jump into here and get more noise, so hang on. And now I'm in the end, which actually I'm going to want to make some changes. I got a really good pickaxe. I don't want to just massively destroy it. So over here is where the dragon used to live until I killed it. Then there's a portal to get back out. You'll see that again in a minute. Over there is my Enderman factory. I think I just pissed him off. I guess we're okay. Here is Obsidian that I always land on. When I come in here, it's every time I come into the end, it's going to be right the hell here. Probably right here, in fact, in the middle. There has to be Obsidian here. The game makes sure of it. Because if there's not, there might be nothing underneath and I just fall to my death, and it doesn't want that. I can manipulate that by digging all this up, which is going to take a minute even with this pick. This pickaxe is efficiency 4. I think I could probably get it up to 5, although I don't know if I literally could, because it might take more experience than I can have or something. Doesn't matter, it's fast enough. With any other pickaxe, you'll eventually pulverize one of these, but it'll decay into molecules. You won't get it. With a normal one, it's I don't even know what it is. I know rhythmically what it is. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Which is a long time. This is like less than half that time, so I like it. So what I can do here is just dig all of this up. And in this case, you saw where I set one down. Because again, the system wants this stuff here so you don't fall through and just fall forever, even though I have wings I could probably put on real quick. Where am I? I'm like 48, so I would have upwards of 3 seconds to hopefully have room to click this off, click that on, and then jump, double jump, and hope I start flying. And then beyond that, I could look into equipping a rocket so that I could actually get back up where I am. It's not really the issue. The issue is that the game, no matter what I do, if I could fill this all with I could fill this in with whatever I wanted. I could fill it with water, it doesn't matter. It would always put obsidian back there. Now this stuff I go through pretty quick, and there is a layer beneath it, but it sounds like a hassle, so I'm just going to quickly get this all out of my way. Pick it up for like no reason. And set down all the obsidian I just picked up, but on this layer. There. Now, this will always be here. Because when I come back in, it's going to put obsidian here. And I'll just show you with a memorable pattern what we're expecting. Looking at 48, looking at 47. These are going to be removed, replaced by a whole other layer of obsidian atop that layer. Because I just slept in that bed, which means that I live here now. Or at least close enough. And don't look at Enderman because that changes what we're doing today. And when I come back in here, I'm going to jump out through this portal, which I wish I was a little closer to, but you can't have everything. I could probably do some kind of rail system that got me over there quickly. I don't know. What matters is I'm going to jump through, there will be noise, and then I'll explain what happened. Oh, there isn't noise coming out of this, right? I slept here. Bed still exists. I haven't slept anywhere else, so I just come back. This is now home. The compass isn't pointing to it, although I guess I could cheat in a thing that said it would, but it doesn't matter. And if I jump back in, there will be noise, but that obsidian will be back. And the little Purina symbol I just built won't be there. So, looking at 48 is now obsidian. Looking at 47 is still obsidian. That means I've got an obsidian farm. And we're done for the day. I can go now. Here's why I want one. If I build a portal, I stand a chance every great once in a while of having a pigman spawn and stand there stupidly not attacking because I haven't done anything to it. If I build a big portal that's 23 by 23, meaning 21 by 21 as far as the actual spawning space, that one pigman I occasionally get kicks up to, I don't know, a few a minute, I think, probably. I don't really know what the spawn rate is. I do know it's affected. I could cheat. I can't cheat. I have cheats turned off. This will never happen. Although I can cheat the cheats. That's how I got keep inventory. I can just open the LAN, allow cheats. I don't like doing it. I don't want cheats on, even if I need a cheat for something, and I rarely do. I did keep inventory just because in doing a series like this, if I don't want to risk losing something that's irreplaceable. If I lost the dragon egg, I guess, let's say that's important to me. I don't think I could get another. I don't really know. If you lose it, maybe you can resummon the dragon and get it back. I never thought about it much. Anyway. With keep inventory, if I lose something, I haven't basically destroyed the whole series. It's like, well, we used to have this thing, but now we don't because I made a mistake and there's no fixing it. Although, you know, arguably whatever I lost, I could cheat in instead of just having keep it. It's just easy. It should be a thing. Like almost any other game, if you, well, I don't know, let me think. It's similar to other, like, Ark, the thing with the really fictional dinosaurs. I mean, dinosaurs aren't fictional, just theirs are. If you die, then you go back to where you were, and there'll be a backpack waiting for full of all your stuff. Gotta go. In, I don't know, Fallout or something, I think you drop all your stuff and it's sort of waiting there when you, I'm not even sure, I never die in Fallout. The point is, I don't know, there's just something infuriating, like, game-breakingly, rage-quittingly infuriating about having all your stuff just not exist. And that's not really the case. If you die and you go back to where you died, if you can get back in time before it evaporates, you can get your stuff back. The flaw then, it won't... Okay, here's the difference between Minecraft and Ark. In Ark, you die, go find your corpse next to a backpack that's got all your stuff. Grab the backpack and you've got all your stuff. All your stuff is designated to where you put it. So if you have the layout I have here, essentially you have a pickaxe and then a whatever... I don't know if there are shovels in Ark. I never thought of... I can't think of one. But then you have like a spear instead of a sword. I think you can have a sword though. Or you can have a gun. And then an axe, and then a bow or a crossbow or whatever. They all go right back where you expect them to be. And so if you habitually stab, 3 to get to a sword. And I'm so used to, I've been doing this layout all along. It's funny, it turns out it's a popular one. I've seen other people do exactly the same layout, pickaxe, shovel or whatever, sword, axe, bow. It just seems to be intuitively a lot of people will put the sword in slot 1. I don't like it. I'm usually pushing on W to go somewhere, and then I can just thump E to get inventory up. But I can also, from about the same place, just thump 3 and I've instantly got a sword handy. It works the best for me. So I do this every time. If I die and have to get all my stuff back, it just goes wherever it goes. And it might not even pick it all up because the armor won't just go where it goes. You see what I mean? It's a mess. So I have keep inventory on, and therefore that's not a thing. It's cheaty, but what are you going to do? It's not cheating, it's bug fixing. That's what it is. Anyway. So what I could do is go in and change, and I can't show you because I don't have cheats on, but change random tick. It defaults to 3. And what it usually means is if you chop down a tree, the leaves eventually decay, and some of them are saplings. They decay at a rate of, well, 3, basically. It's a simple way of putting it. If I kick it up to 9.99, a couple of neat things happen. The leaves decay instantly. I get some saplings. If I plant a sapling, it pretty much becomes a tree instantly, which is actually a bit awkward if I'm planting 4 of them to get a big super spruce. Half the time it gets in, it outpaces me. It grows the first tree before I can get the 4th sapling in place. The real danger is fire. At a random tick speed of 9.99 or more, if I dump lava on a nitwit villager to burn it up, it'll burn up pretty fast. So will the entire village. The entire village will burn down in 3 seconds. It's crazy. So that's not a good thing to have. At least not if you play this thing the way I tend to play it. So that's I don't really actually need that where it is right now. I don't think. Yes. The other thing that would happen with kicking up the tick speed is just a normal portal. It's for 2x3. 6 spaces in which they can spawn. You'll get 3 of them a minute, maybe more. Which kind of tells you what we're talking about. If you build a bigger portal, that 1 every 5 minutes you might get. You might get 1 a day, probably less. Playing it with at normal speed with a normal portal. I want more than that. So if I can make a portal that gives me 21 squared, I'll get a few pigmen. That's as big as a portal can get. If you're going literally. If you mean a portal. A portal can be 23 squared. Well, 23. It can be 4692 blocks. Well, 88 really, because you probably don't need the corners. If you want to save on some obsidian, that might be a good idea with what I'm planning. Right now, I think I have probably those 88, because I've got 76, 84, so 4 more and I'll be able to do it. But I don't want to stop there. If I'm going to do this, what I want to do is have a portal that, let's just round the numbers. Let's say it's 20 by 20. 400 spots of or less. I mean, it would be actually 18 by 18. If I built this super portal producing pigmen, I would get some pigmen. Just almost enough to justify having done it. Not really. Probably not. It wouldn't be that many. But imagine this. I have this portal here that extends that way 23 meters, goes up 23 meters, full of portal texture block, producing a pigment. Then I go next to it and build another one. See where I'm going with this? So let's say it's 20 by 20 by 10. I would have half a cube of a portal. So now, if I'm getting, I don't know, say a pigment every 10 seconds with a portal as big as it can be, and that's probably a reasonable estimate. I'm not sure. I'll find out in time. If I have 9 more just like it, now I'm getting a pigment once a second. I'm getting 10 every 10 seconds. And if I do the same thing on the other side, A, I'll have symmetry, which I happen to like. B, I'll have 2 pigment a second. Which on its own is meaningless. That just clutters everything up with a bunch of impotent, unangered pigment. But if between these cubes, or in the middle of this cube, it's basically going to be a cube. If you looked at the bowling ball factory, where I've got that slug in the middle, the endermite, and all the endermen who spawn instantly or instantly triggered, run toward it, try to kill it, can't, because before they can reach it, they fall to their death, because the center of that disc is a little ring of trapdoors that are open. Endermen, and for that matter pigmen, see a trapdoor open or shut and assume that it's shut. They don't understand that if they step onto an open trapdoor, they'll fall through. Counting on that, I can have however many if a portal, which is going to look a little like this, is, I don't know, it's not 4 wide, that's a problem, but anyway, however tall a portal is Y, however wide it is X. Going this way with it is Z, and allows me to make a cube out of it. As long as the furthest point is within aggravation distance, I guess is the best metric. If I have trapdoors so they can't actually get to me, if I have trapdoors open so they can't get to me, and just anger one of them, whether I lean over the side and smack it with a sword or shoot it with an arrow, and I'm going to be by the monster factory, so I don't even have to worry about an arrow that would kill it instantly. I could just use a... Well, actually I can't because they're all fulling. Occasionally I'll just grab one as I'm killing skeletons. It won't go into the system, it'll go into my inventory because I'm too close. The point is I can have a lesser bow that does nothing more than infuriates a pigman. And once he gets angry, all of the others get angry, and all of the others at this point could be, after a couple of minutes of standing there, hundreds of pigmen. And they'd all get angry and run at me, simultaneously. All fall off of the open trapdoor, not a block. And then, I mentioned I'm going to have hoppers at the bottom. They fall, say, 50 meters, whatever it takes to kill them, I'll look it up. Die on impact. Drop stuff that, because they died on a hopper, necessarily goes into the hopper. And I'm getting more noise. Rolls through the hopper system into another item elevator. Like what's dragging stuff up, iron and prismarine. And, I don't need that really, probably. So I should be getting a decent. The meat is incidental. I mean, I can load it on clerics, but at best they want 36 for 1 emerald, which means more than half a stack, which means a stack. I have to just keep over and over. I have to do it. It's annoying. On the other hand, if I grab all these golden nuggets, consolidate 9 into an ingot, collect ingots until I have 8 to 10. Clerics want 8 to 10 ingots for the same emerald, so that's easy. You know, basically, pigmen are just money if you encounter a cleric villager. Also, gold has uses. And on this map, I can just wander around underground and find the stuff eventually. But I like the idea of having I'm just building stuff. So I built that stupid, massive hopper system with 700 damned hoppers in it. I might as well add 150, or yeah, about 150. And, well, about 200 because the Endermen have to splat onto hoppers, which aren't part of this system. It's a whole big thing. I'm out of time. So that's what I'm planning toward. I don't have all the numbers yet, so I can't quite sketch out what I'm talking about. But I do know that theoretically it'll work. And by theoretically, I mean like beyond hypothesis, there's evidence supporting it. So we'll see what I can do with it eventually. First, I've got the Obsidian farm here, which again, I've had for 20 minutes, and it's not really... It's just watching me use it, which is kind of cool, I guess. And just today I've made... Since I wasted the 25 in the first place, and I brought one with me, you know, that's what I've got. What I was going to say. Well, the point is, I can collect what amounts to infinite obsidian, or at least shulker boxes full of the stuff, given enough time. You know, if I devote enough time to doing this, and I've got nothing better to do, so whatever. When I have enough to really contemplate, and when did I just say that was? Almost 3 stacks is enough to get started on this thing we're talking about. I could make the one, there goes the Keurig. I could make the one, kind of wing bit, the beginning. The first frame that we're talking about building. Let me jump in here so I don't get attacked. It is possible for something to sneak up behind me, including a creeper, and that would really wreck my whole system. I guess I could rebuild it, but I don't want to. Yeah, so I could get started on this and add to it over time. It really doesn't matter if it's already on the first day, as long as it's... If I've got enough to turn it on, basically, I can add to it over time as I get more stuff to add to it. That makes sense, I think. I don't know. Just woke up. So that's my plan. I'm going to collect obscene amounts of obsidian, obscenium, and obstinate stuff. And I'll have that at some point. If I have... Well, probably the next episode we can at least start on it. I should have all the materials I need short of stupid amounts of obsidian. I do have stupid amounts of iron, and I can get stupid amounts of wood. I have lots and lots and lots of redstone. I have everything I need to build the receiving element. You know, the hoppers they fall onto and die, the elevator to get the stuff up to the existing sorting system, the addition to the existing sorting system to, you know, allow it to also use to measure for gold. That'll be next time, by which point I'm just going to do this all day, I think, so, like, literally all day. It's 3:30 in the afternoon now, so, you know, do that, sunsets, I don't care, keep going, take a nap at some point, maybe tomorrow I'll have a bunch of stuff. That's how I do things. I don't sleep much. But yeah, for now I'm out of time, so I'm just going to get out of here, and I'll just see you tomorrow-ish, so.